first and foremost, I would like to say thanks for having me, and I'm happy to be a living book here. It's pretty awesome. It's my first time doing it, so I hope that I can share my story and inspire some of you to go ahead and chase and catch your goals and dreams. So I'll get right into it. First and foremost, my whole story started with baseball. My whole life revolved around baseball for 15 years of my life. Now, when I first started, the very first person that I ran into said, "You're probably not going to make it. You probably won't make the team. And we're not sure if, it's a pretty mental game. So let's see if you can keep up with it." That was in Little League. Fast forward, not only did I make the team, but I continued on playing. I played throughout high school, went to a sporting academy. I played in university, and I played independent minor league baseball all throughout the states as well, while becoming captains of 3 of those teams. So if you want to do something, keep on going. And that's something I always told myself, whether it be, you're not smart enough, or whether it be anything else, keep it going. So funny enough, while I was on the bus, because they always bus you around to different places. So if you're playing in Los Angeles and then the next game is in Washington and Seattle, you'll pop up and they'll have you on a bus. On the bus, I used to like to write. I've always been a writer. I've enjoyed writing poems, songs, short stories, what have you. One of my friends on the bus took one of my poems and said, "Man, you need to do something with this. It's not right that you're just having them on the bus here and nobody else is being able to read them." So I said, "No, I'm not ready for that." Plus, the idea of being an athlete and being a writer at the time scared me, to be honest. I was super nervous about it. So I said, "No, I'm not ready for that." Little did I know that he took a picture of what I had done and sent it to a family member of his who actually was involved in the music scene, had a studio, the whole thing. So from baseball, I got some attention through that happenstance from a music producer who said, "Come on in and let's kind of talk about what you wrote." Had no idea about how it would go. I only found out how he found me after he told me after I got there for the meeting. And he tells me that he thinks my work is good. He'd like to kind of work with me. So I go from thinking that baseball is my complete future to being like, okay, maybe instead of riding buses, I can write these same stories I have been and make a life for myself in that way. So it took me a while, but after a couple more seasons, I figured, okay, I'm going to really give this music thing a shot. So I found myself now sitting in rooms with other writers, sitting in rooms with producers who I never thought I would meet or I didn't know of. And in studios where people like Ed Sheeran had recorded a song, a few days earlier, stuff like that. I was going around trying to touch what he touched because I figured Ed Sheeran, he's a legend. So if I can get a little bit of Ed magic, that's great. I kept on doing that. That provided me so many opportunities. And what I started doing was I said, okay, I want to find a way to give back to youth. I want to show people that this is possible because I'm just a normal person who's been able to have these extraordinary opportunities, right? Just by believing in myself and saying, I'm not the only person who can tell me no is me. And that's not to say that I'm going to disrupt anybody or be irresponsible or not be respectful to anybody. It just means if I want to do something, I'm going to fight for it and keep on going until I am the one who determines, okay, I'm either going to keep going again or I'm going to stop, right? That's what that means. So I wanted to find a way to give back. And I had a dream, of all things, and the term turn fears into gears came into play. And so I said, okay, perfect. I'm going to use that. I don't know how I'm going to use it. Will it be a poem? Will I put it into a song? What will I do with it? And what I decided to do is have that be my way of giving back to the next generation, to youth, through motivational speaking, through all the things that I do, really. So now, happy to say that I've created and I'm building Turn Fears into Gears, which not only goes with motivational speaking, but also I'm an author now, which is nice, which I'll touch on later. And also I'm trying to get more kids into the world of motorsport and golf. So no matter what you look like, where you're from, what you believe in, who you love, anything like that, I want to get more kids working together with kids from other kids from various backgrounds, so that as they grow and as we all grow, we see that as normal. I think we should see as many types of people as possible, hear as many languages as possible, different ways of life as possible, so that when we go throughout life and when we mature throughout life, we're doing so without judgment. We are seeing people for who they are and the spirit that lives within them, right? We don't want to go on like, this person is like this because they have a ponytail. You know, this person is like this because they're wearing glasses. Let's get to know the person and see what we have in common. What are the cool things that we can accomplish together in life? So that's where the name of Turn Fears into Gears actually came from, where instead of fearing differences and staying away from challenges, whether that be in the form of diversity, communication, backgrounds, financial abilities, whatever the case may be, I wanted to make sure that I limited those and really gave back and tried to put good into the world that I want to see. You know, be the change that you want to see. You've heard that often, I'm sure. And that's what I tried to put into place there. So through my speaking engagements and different things, I've gone into schools, I've talked to from all the way from kindergarten to university students. I've talked to sports teams. I've talked to a few like business people. I started to kind of see a trend of people would bring up their children a lot and said, you know, how do I get to a place where I can have these conversations about diversity, inclusion, communication, leadership? I hear you talk about these things, but I didn't go to school for them, right? I went to school in university, I studied psychology, and people think like, oh, that's why. That's only a small part of it, though. I mean, a lot of it is lived experience, right? So they're saying, I don't know how to bring up this conversation with my own family, with my own kids, with my own class, with my own peer group of teachers. And I thought, okay, how can I now start to use my writing skills again to create a story that can spark a conversation for people to feel empowered and more comfortable in having those tough conversations about, you know, what does it mean to be different? What is difference? What is togetherness? What is inclusivity? So again, I started writing, this time not in the back of a bus. So this opportunity was in a normal room. It was fine this time. So I started writing, and the title then came to me, Daddy, Am I Cool? Because I've heard so many people saying, you know, what do I tell my kids? What do I tell my students? And for me, having a young one myself, I thought, okay, these are conversations that I'm going to have too. So let me write something down that's not a one size fits all. It's not a fix or anything like that, but it is something that I can again give to the world that maybe it helps people to get to a place of comfort and understanding. So I wrote it. I kept writing day after day. I would write more and more stories from my own experiences, stories that I could envision my own son one day saying, you know, Daddy, is this okay? You know, is I feel like this in this situation. What do you know about that? What advice can you give me from that? Right? And I ended up coming up with this. So now I'm proud to say that I am officially an author. From writing those thoughts down and from trying to help people understand that challenging times don't have to define who they are and what they are, I've now come up with something tangible that I can give other people in order to help them have these conversations, right? So what started with a kid being told, you know, you might not make the team. You might not have the smarts to play this sport. Transitioning into, you know, actually doing that as a career and having people pay money to come in and watch me play and yelling things at me about my skin color, about, you know, why I shouldn't be there, why I don't belong. Realizing that and kind of accepting that in a way and being like, okay, this is my job at the time. I understand that people have different views, people have different viewpoints. Moving into music, where I'm writing songs, and my specialty was writing songs with a message, writing a story, writing something uplifting, upbeat, not knowing that my past was always fueling this, right? And then I go into turn fears into gears and speaking and becoming an author. And I realized that all those lessons and all those things that I heard along the way of people either judging me without knowing me, or saying I wasn't good enough, or saying I didn't measure up to some kind of standard, I can now turn around and give positivity back through a book, or through speaking on days like this, or just an interaction on the street. People stop me all the time and just, I heard this, or I saw this, or I want to actually talk to you. And hopefully giving them a good 5-10 minutes of their life that they remember, and they feel like, you know what, I can do what I want to do too. I can go ahead and do this. I don't have to be afraid of being different, or following my dreams, or what other people will say. So in terms of Harmony Day, I would say that I've found harmony in being able to know that the togetherness that I am creating, everything that I've gone through in my life up to this point, whether it be an athlete, a songwriter, an author, a speaker, I've been able to really come full circle. And I'm still going, but I've been able to come full circle and know that everything has happened for a reason. And that the things, like if negative things have happened, I'm not saying that those are okay, but I wouldn't change anything now, because it's made me into the person that I am. And I've been able to educate others through the experiences and education and communication that I have had along the way. So that to me is valuable, and I feel at peace with that. And I'm able to create togetherness from that. In the optimism sense, I do feel optimistic that I'm changing the world. Now, that doesn't just happen overnight, and I'm not saying that I'm there yet. But in the things that I've been able to learn, and things like Daddy, Am I Cool, like that book that I wrote that I'm so proud of, talks like this today, I feel like if I can empower a few people to go after what they believe in, and to feel comfortable in their own skin and say, you know what, no matter what, I'm going to go after what I want, and I'm going to change the world too, then we're going to get there for sure. And that kind of leads into the perseverance part as well, where if we are creating resilient youth, the next generation, the people who are one day going to be the teachers, right? You're going to be the parents. You're going to be the social leaders. Then if we can instill in the youth more than what the teachers had before, we're going to be getting better. And that perseverance of always striving and trying and looking for ways to get better, and looking for ways to become more together, more united, more hopeful. That is something that really excites me, because I think it's amazing. With the empathy portion, I think every day that we sit down and have conversations like this one, and look at each other and celebrate each other in a light of, you know what, I'm happy you're here. And if we do have differences, I'd like to learn more about them, because those are cool. Differences are the coolest part. If everyone was exactly the same, it'd be pretty boring, because it would be a one size fits all. We wouldn't have anything new and exciting every day to look forward to. Now, I know the world is in a place where sometimes things are a little bit weird, especially right now. Maybe people aren't agreeing, maybe people aren't talking the way that we are capable of. But all in all, if we keep having conversations, seeing each other as people and seeing each other as family, instead of finding ways to divide all the time, and we empathize with someone else's point of view, even if we don't agree, we can see like, okay, I see where you're coming from. Thank you for telling me. Here's what I believe. And we can still go forward together, even if it doesn't seem like our paths align. That's what we want. Healthy communication, leadership, and the ability for diversity to not be something that is divisive. It doesn't tear us apart. It is simply something to say, you know what, here is what I've learned. Here is what my life has been like. Let me share that with you. I can learn from you. You can learn from me. And we're both better because of that, right? So for me, that is kind of my story of hope. And it's something that, like I said, I'm a work in progress, just like anybody else, because I'm not done yet. But I'm very, very happy to be doing things like this, and I'm very happy that the experiences of my life have brought me to a place where I can give something back to the world, something back to youth, something back to all people, and feel like I can help create a better world team to go forward with, because I do think we can do it, and we'll keep going until it's all there. So can leave any questions or anything like that.
Thank you, Brent. You hit on so many great things. I love the turn fears into gears. I'm gonna have to remember that one. So again, if anyone has any questions, the link is in the chat. You can fill out the form and we can ask those questions. We appreciate you being here, Brent, and taking your time to share your story. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
So Brent, a question has come in. Where can we find your book?
So my book is currently on Shopify. The first order actually sold out, but the overall. Okay. All right. So there was an earthquake. My computer just fell. That's all. So what we can do is, okay, can everybody hear me still? Good.
Yep.
Okay. So on Shopify, it is my name, Brent Carmichael -Daddy Series at myshopify.com. So I can leave that somewhere or send it somewhere as well, so that it's a little bit easier to remember. But I do have a website dedicated to Daddy Am I Cool and my speaking. So this is the first book in the series, and I'll have, actually I won't even give it up. There are more to come. I won't even tell you the number, but there are some more that are going to fill up the whole thing. So the whole thing is called the Daddy Series. This one is Daddy Am I Cool, and it's my first one. So I'll make sure that if you didn't get that, if it wasn't clear enough, I'll write it down and send you guys the link.
Perfect, thank you. Another question is, how old is your son, and have you been able to share your book with him?
Yeah, my son is 2.5, and actually, funny enough, so the illustrator I worked with, so technically speaking, this is my son right here. Something he likes to do, put on the cape, just dive ball off the couch, which hopefully it translates into a safe future for him. But yeah, he's 2.5, and we've read through the book. My dedication in the book is actually to him, and I wrote a poem that is something that I've read to him for the last little while before bed as well. And I thought maybe other kids could get something out of it. So I actually asked his permission to have his picture, his likeness, and if we could share his poem with other kids. So he has okayed the book, and the only reason it's here is because he said yes. So we're pretty lucky.
And another question is, can you read the poem?
Yes, I can. Okay, so it's titled Inspiration. I am the child of kings and queens, so why do they take my crown? I never comply with mischief or thieves, but with this they attempt to surround. I am exactly who I am meant to be. My beauty and strength abound. I am the child of kings and queens. Watch me grow into this golden gown. So short and sweet, but I want him to feel like a king, because why shouldn't he, right?
Love that. Another question is, have any of your experiences been the most or more impactful? Baseball, music, poetry, writing, or has it all been equally significant?
I think it's been equally significant, but in different ways. I think with playing, it was always something when a kid would come up to me and say like, "Oh, I'm wearing your number in Little League," or "You're my favorite player," or, you kind of get more of the people see you as a superhero. With music and writing, that's more behind the scenes. So it's more of something where if a song that I wrote is performed at a show and I see people crying or something happens, I'm like, man, it really touched people. That feels like it helped people, but it's more indirect. And now with Turn Fears into Gears and being an author, it's kind of a blend of both, because some of my work gets done behind the scenes, but I'm also the person delivering the message and on that stage or playing field, kind of similar to sports. So it kind of feels like I've been really in the spotlight, I've been really out of it, and now I'm kind of going between both. But all of them have been amazing, and I always try to inspire people wherever I go if I can, because I like people who inspire me. So try to be that for others.
Any other questions? Oh, there's another one coming in. Is there one achievement that you would identify as your top success?
I would put kind of developing Turn Fears into Gears and releasing my first book of the series, because both of them I had my son in mind, and it's one of those things where I just can't imagine life without him at this point. So anything that has been inspired by him, or we've been able to do together, really, really sticks out in my mind, because sports is kind of a more selfish endeavor. It's more about, you're going to work out, you're going to play, you're the kind of the person doing the things, but being able to include, oh wow, again, okay, camera doesn't want to stay. Being able to do things on more of a family atmosphere, where it's not just me that people are looking at trying to hit a ball. It's how can my whole family feel? How can I share that feeling? That has been really amazing. So I would probably rank Turn Fears into Gears and being an author over anything else.